Yo, so hopefully you can hear me. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I'm just stuck on the motorway, so I thought I'd pull over at service and obviously start the Facebook Live. So, got asked a few questions, and the first one was, I've just seen Victoria post actually, how important is a protein shake for fat loss or for a result? Well, to be honest, it's not important at all. All it matters is, let's say for example, a protein shake is very handy post-workout because it's easily digestible, it's a lot easier to get down, it's a lot easier to take rather than having to have a chicken meal or anything like this. But it's also great to have a protein shake if you want to use it for breakfast. So let's say, for example, you have it for your first meal. I tend to give it for people for the first meals if they're struggling to eat breakfast. So either like a protein shake or a Greek yogurt, it's a good one to transition if you're not eating breakfast. But apart from that, a protein shake isn't that important. What is important is that you've got a balanced diet, you've got plenty of protein at each meal, you're in a calorie deficit, you're training hard, you're doing plenty of cardio, and that's obviously what matters with that. But don't worry too much about is it vitally important? No, it's not really important at all. All that matters is if you enjoy it, have it. If you don't, it's not too important. Now, also ask me, what is leaky gut and how do you kind of fix leaky gut? So for people that don't know what leaky gut is basically called intestinal permeability. So in your intestines, you've got these little tight junctions that stop stuff like food particles, bacteria, parasites seeping through into your bloodstream. So what these tight junctions, like I said, tight junctions stop you from doing that. So let's say, for example, through stress or through alcohol or through drugs or for all these different things, what happens is over time that kind of tears apart and creates little holes in your intestines. And when that happens, what happens is stuff starts to seep through into your bloodstream. And then obviously your immune system starts to attack it. So that's what leaky gut is. And obviously when that happens, you get autoimmune, and then it can spread into autoimmune conditions. You can get a lot more food sensitivities. You can get a lot more inflammation. You can get a lot more aches, pains. And it makes it a lot harder for fat loss because obviously your cortisol and your stress hormones are a lot higher. So what can you do to kind of prevent that? Well, first of all, the main thing you've got to do is reduce stress levels. So stuff like yoga or meditation is really good to obviously help reduce stress levels. And then what you can do is obviously so you work on your lifestyle stuff, you've got your cardio in a good place, you're not doing too much. You probably wouldn't want to do HIIT with that, you're probably going to do LISS. And then obviously you've got your training on point, not going too difficult, you've got it planned out 4 times a week, you've got plenty of rest and recovery in there. So you've got plenty of recovery strategies. When it comes to supplementation for that, what you're going to be looking at is stuff that's going to obviously kind of get those tight junctions and make them tight again so stuff can't seep through. So that's stuff like glutamine, aloe vera, deglycerized licorice, marshmallow root. So there's a few good products that's got these in. So stuff like Glutagenics, GI Revive, Optimal GI Powder. All these are really good things to put in. But like I said, first of all, what you've got to do is manage your stress, keep your stress levels low. Then you've got to take away all triggers. So you'd want to take away stuff that's going to inflame you. So you'd want to take away mostly processed food, lots and lots of tons of sugar, and make sure you're not eating quite as much. And then have a balanced lifestyle alongside of that. And then you can start adding these supplements in like L-glutamine and all these different products like Glutagenics, Optimal GI Powder and stuff like that. Got asked another question as well about how can you see if you're inflamed and what is inflammation. So basically inflammation, well, okay, if you imagine if you had an injury, what inflammation is, it's like you let's say for example you pulled your hamstring, let's say for example, then you're obviously going to get slight inflammation and slight blood flow around that area, and it's going to kind of protect itself from acute injury. When it comes to gut health and inflammation or through stress, then what's going to happen is you're going to get certain triggers pop up. So, okay, let's say, for example, you might be a lot more fatigued. Once again, you might have a lot more joint pain. You might be aching a lot more. Your sleep might not be as well. Your stress might be a lot higher. You might have autoimmune-based conditions, so stuff like arthritis or psoriasis, all these different things. And what that's showing is just showing that your gut's inflamed and your gut's compromised. So once again, like I just said in the previous one there, what you'd want to be doing is putting, managing your lifestyle, managing stress, and then putting these other things in. So it's difficult to track if you are inflamed, but one of the main things you want to do is manage your gut health, manage your stress levels, and then go from there. Okay, so how much weight loss should you expect a week? Well, obviously to start with, you're going to expect a lot more, depending on obviously your size, your build. But the first 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to obviously drop a lot of water, you're going to drop a lot of fluid, you're going to drop a lot of inflammation. And obviously, if you've done it correctly, you're not going to drop too muscle if you've got your nutrition planned out and everything like this. So when it comes to weight loss, obviously you want to be losing no more, once you're into the stream of things after 3 or 4 weeks, no more than 1 to 2 pound a week. Because obviously if you're losing more than 1 or 2 pound a week, what you're also going to be doing is losing a lot of muscle, you're going to be losing a lot of lean mass. So when you're losing 1 to 2 pound a week, I know that you're keeping your muscle. We're going to keep and at the end of the 12 weeks or end of the 6 months or end of the 12 months, we're going to have a physique at the end of it, because what we're burning then and what we're losing then is mainly fat. If you're losing more than 3 to 5 pound a week, then there's going to be a good chance that we're also losing muscle. So if you're going by weight solely, then you want to be losing 1 to 2 pound a week. But obviously this is the last feedback tool that I would use. So obviously your first one would be your measurements. So either your body fats or circumference measurements. So you could do like your chest, your arm, your hip, your mid-thigh and your stomach. Use these and obviously monitor them every 2 weeks, or you can have your body fat done. And then one of the main ones is just seeing how your clothes feel. So if your clothes are feeling a lot looser, they're feeling a lot better, that's a lot better feedback tool. And obviously one of the best ones to always do, which I get all my clients doing, is just photos. So assess your photos, maybe not every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, just to see how you're getting on. If you're losing 1 to 2 pound consecutively every week, we know at the end of the 4 weeks that you're going to look a hell of a lot different. You're going to have lost a lot of body fat, and you're also going to have a good physique at the end of it. All right. So like I said, don't worry if you're losing 3 to 5 pound a week, and to start with, that's good. We expect that. But then if we start losing that after the 4 week period, then we need to probably either increase your nutrition a little bit. So increase either by an extra 100, 150 calories just to slow it down a little bit, just to make sure that we're preserving lean muscle and just to preserving tissue and just to preserving your physique at the end of it. Because like I said, you don't just want to be a skinnier version of yourself. You want to have the best body you can have. And when you've dieted hard for 12 to 16 weeks, you want to make sure that you've got the end of that. So is there any more questions at all? I mean, like I said, when it comes to fat loss, the main thing that you want to check is don't worry so much about weight loss. Like one of the main things you can get out of the habit of is doing weight. I mean, to be honest, if it was my choice, I wouldn't do weight at all, but it's just used as another feedback tool. So like I say, get into the habit of using measurements and using body fat tools just to do all your measurements, okay? Guys, if there's any more questions, like I said, just pop them below. Or if you've got any that you don't want to ask right now, because I know a lot of you ask me when we're not on, then if you just pop them below, then what I'll do is I'll do another one later this week on Wednesday or Thursday, and I can answer them all then as well. Like I said, obviously, over the next, we had some really good results last week, so hopefully over the next 2 weeks, I know a lot of you are coming towards the end of your 12 weeks, that we're going to get some really good transformations. Obviously, we could put these out over the next few weeks as well. Also, nearly completed my website now as well. So hopefully all your programs will be available on the app. So it'll be a lot easier to transition over to that. And then there's going to be a full video library and everything on there as well. So it should be a lot easier to kind of assess and just to have all your information on there. Okay, well, I'll leave it there then, guys. If you get any more questions, like I said, send them over. And yeah, Andy, I'm not going to wear my tight shorts till Ibiza, so I'm not lean enough yet. So I'll start wearing my tight shorts for you when we're training mid-July. I'll only wear my tight shorts though if you're going to wear your Speedos that you wear when you go scuba diving. What's the quickest turnaround transformation? Okay, well, okay, you can go really hardcore transformation. So you can do it in 6 weeks, you can do it in 8 weeks, do it 12 weeks. But like I said, when you're doing it in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, it doesn't leave much room for maneuver. So let's say, for example, someone has leads a highly stressful job, or they've got a lot of gut issues, or they've got a lot of liver issues. you haven't really got time to judge all that. You've just got to go really hardcore. So the nutrition's going to be a lot lower, the training's going to be a lot harder, and you don't really have much time to figure things out. Ideal world, you'd want to be looking at a transformation over a 4 to 6 month period, because then that gives you time to kind of figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And then it also gives, like I said, gives you a lot more time to do it a lot slower, lose 1 to 2 pound a week, lose 0.7 to about 1% body fat a week, and then you know that you're going to have a good physique at the end of it. Obviously, the shorter you go, I can remember when I did my show, and we did it in 6 to 8 weeks pretty much at the end, and we just went whitefish and coconut oil and green beans for 5 or 6 meals a day. When you do that, obviously you'll be leaner, you'll be shredded, but you're going to lose a lot of tissue like that. So you can do a transformation in 4 to 6 weeks, but be prepared that you're going to do a hell of a lot of work regarding cardio and regarding training. So best transformation is over a 4 to 6 month period. Give yourself a lot of time. So if you're wanting to get lean for summer now, I would pretty much say start now. I think I've got about 14 weeks till I go away. So obviously I started dieting properly last week, just to give myself 15 weeks to get lean for the summer. I wouldn't really leave it till a 6 to 8 week period. Give yourself a proper 15 weeks. Okay, will cutting sugar from the diet with consistent training help to lose fat and achieve a six-pack? Okay, so obviously the first thing, if you want a six-pack, you've got to be in a calorie deficit. You've got to be training hard. You've got to be you've got to progressively overloading. So you've got to be lifting more than what you're currently doing. So obviously remember, if you're building muscle, your metabolism is going to be higher. It's going to make it a lot easier for fat loss. And then obviously cardio alongside that, it's going to make it, once again, you're creating a bigger deficit and you're going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping. But when it comes to sugar, you don't necessarily have to drop sugar. Let's say, for example, with certain clients, it depends on the person, because certain clients I'll either do it depends on the client. Let's say, for example, they're doing a keto diet, they're not going to have no sugar or no carbs. If they're doing a carb cycling diet, they're going to have mainly like a high day, a medium day, and low days. On the high days, I'll usually give them like intra-workout stuff, and I'll give them carbs post-workout. So you don't necessarily, and I keep sugar in all the way through. It's only the last 2 to 3 week period that I would pull sugar totally out. So you can keep sugar in the diet, and obviously you've got to think, if you're having sugar post-workout and intra-workout, what that's going to do is help with recovery. It's going to give you plenty of energy, and it's going to keep you fuller for a lot longer. And what it's also going to do is going to give you that pump and cell swelling during training. So I wouldn't cut sugar from your diet. You need to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit. You need to make sure that you're training hard. You've got a structured training program, structured nutritional program, and you're periodizing it to get you towards your end goal in 12 to 16 weeks. I wouldn't cut sugar out. First of all, make sure you're in a calorie deficit and have a fluctuation in your calories. So what I mean by that is have a high day. Start with like 3 medium days and 3 low days. That usually works pretty well. Then as you're getting leaner, what you could do is go, okay, now I'm going to mix it up. So what you could do is do 1 high day, 4 medium days and 2 low days. Then what you could do is go, okay, now I'm going to do 1 high day, 3 medium days, 3 low days. And you can keep manipulating it depending on how lean you're getting and how you're dropping. Okay, what is the average carb someone needs to carry on losing fat but keeping muscle? People seem so scared of carbs. Is it worse to just remove? Yeah, it's worse to remove carbs totally, because obviously a lot of people will get really flat. And you've got to remember, when you've got carbs in, like I said, it's going to help with the cell swelling, it's going to help with the pump, it's going to keep your muscles nice and full. So I would never ever just totally remove carbs. The main aim is to be in a calorie deficit. Let's say, for example, someone that's more of an ectomorph, so someone that's like a taller and skinnier, I would tend to give them a hell of a lot more carbs. So on a high day, you could be at anywhere between 400 to 600 gram of carbs. If I've got someone that's a little bit more of the athletic type, they could probably once again be about 300 to 500. If I've got someone that's a little bit rounder and a little bit plumpier, you could probably go 150 to 300 gram of carbs. So that's just by judging someone. That's not actually just knowing what they're currently doing, what their lifestyle is, how hard they train, what their muscle mass is like. But that's just a rough figure. So if you're an ectomorph, you could usually you could tend to go usually a little bit high carb. So that's a good way of looking at it. But on average, I'd say 200 to 300 grams of carb is plenty for most people as a high carb day. And then you could have your medium day, let's say anywhere between 100 to 150, and then your low carb day, 50 grams of carb. There's no need, there's no need to go to 0 carb, although you can do. 50 gram of carbs is fine on a low carb day. All right, Ross, if we're saying it for you, then you could go, as long as you're in a calorie deficit on your high day, what I would do for you is probably go about 250 to 300 gram of carbs to start with. Then I would go as a medium day. So let's say 300 grams of carbs on your high day, medium day, 150 gram of carbs, and then, yeah, you're an ectomorph. Yeah, and then you could go low carb day, about 50 to 75 gram of carbs. But you don't need to go, that's a rough figure just to see where you're at. But like I said, over the week, see how many calories you're having and making sure you're in a calorie deficit. So your high day could be a little bit over your metabolic rate. Your medium day could be, let's say, level your metabolic rate, and low day, make sure that's a little bit lower. So over the week, what that does is it gradually pulls you into a deficit. Or if you're not quite in a calorie deficit yet, then what you could do is just increase cardio, or you could increase training output. So what I mean by that is if you're doing 4 sessions a week, you could take that up to 6 a week, or some days you could hit it twice a day just to increase the amount of deficit that you're creating. But apart from that, like I said, don't be scared of carbs. You don't totally need to remove them. Carbs are good. People worry about carbs because they say, oh, I put weight on when I remove carbs. But remember, when you, let's say, for example, when I put carbs in, they say that they put weight on. You put weight on, yes, because when you put carbs in, it obviously attracts water to the cell as well. So you're going to hold a little bit more weight, but it doesn't mean it's body fat. And that's why just going by the scales is a bad thing to go by. So that's why, like I said, doing your measurements again is key to that. But if you're in a calorie deficit, keep carbs in and you will drop body fat and you will drop weight. Okay? So like I said, guys, if there's any more questions, just type them in below or send me a private message. And then what I'll do is I'll do another one later this week and I'll answer all the rest of the questions for you. All right? Cool. Sweet. Any more questions before I log off? Hey, Daniel, you're just starting out. So when we get leaner, this is a good point. Okay, so let's say, for example, you're starting out. So what I just said there, that was based on a leaner individual. So I'm talking about if I had a bodybuilding client come to me, so that was doing a show, and like I said, it totally depends on the person. So let's say, for example, where you're at, Daniel, we are obviously going to start a little bit lower carb, just to get you leaner. Then as we get leaner and your cells are a lot more sensitive to insulin, then what we can do is take your carbs up. Because if you imagine your cells like your cells like a bottle of, I don't know, let's say a bottle of Fanta, then what happens is that that bottle gets depleted through training and through cardio and from going low carb. Then it's a lot easier because your cells are a lot more susceptible to taking in sugar. So the leaner you get, the more sugar and the more carbs that you can handle. So over time, what we'll do is we'll gradually give you more carbs. So the leaner you get, the more carbs you'll be able to get. It's not going to be a case of the leaner you get, the less carbs you're going to have, because you'll be able to handle a lot more. Dion, look at my checking fix. Yep. Yes, I will do, mate. I'm just driving home now. As soon as I'm back, I'll look at your checking pics and I'll send you an update as well. So I think with Dion as well, Dion's got about 10 weeks now to his show. So he's looking bang on. His transformation pics look absolutely incredible. He's going to look amazing in 10 weeks. How much to drink? You're not telling me you've drunk, have you, Dion? Like with 10 weeks till your show? No, so drink. Okay, this is a good question. So people always ask me, how much does drink affect you? To be honest, what it usually is, it's the next day and the day after, because people's appetite is either suppressed or it's either upregulated, depending on how you are usually with alcohol. So let's say, for example, the next day, you're probably not going to want to eat your 5 meals if you're on a low carb day. You're going to want to be craving carbs because your hunger hormones and your appetite hormones are absolutely everywhere. So that's what usually actually impacts. And it does impact, obviously, your liver function and how well you're going to be able to detoxify. But what I tell clients is don't go for a drink that's going to have a hell of a lot of calories. So like your wines, like your ciders, like your beers. If you are going to drink like your vodka, your gin that's got a lot less calories, and that'll be a lot better to have. And then you can use it with your tonics or Pepsi Max, Coke Zero, any of these things that are a lot lower calories. That's going to be a lot better to use than stuff like wine, beer, or cider, because obviously it's got a lot more calories, and that's what it comes down to. So And it's usually the next day that it affects, like I said, because it's your appetite that's everywhere, your cortisol's everywhere, you haven't slept as well. So like I said, your stress hormones are everywhere. You won't be recovered as well. So there's a lot. And when it comes to fat loss, obviously you're wanting everything to be in peak condition. You're working in an optimal environment. You want to get a great result week on week. So it just slows down and hampers your progress. You'll still get results, but it's just going to slow down a little bit of everything. But like I said, if you're not doing a bodybuilding show and you're wanting to live it as a lifestyle, like I always say to my clients, don't ever stop social stuff. Go and out, enjoy drinks, but just choose better options. Go and enjoy meals, but obviously just choose better options. So like I said, go out and have a drink, but just have one or two, or just choose better options, and then go from there. Is there any more comments or questions? And then, like I said, if not, I'll do another one on Wednesday or Thursday, and then I'll answer any more kind of questions you've got. And then we can go from there. There's also going to be, I'm going to post a video every single day this week. So just check those out as well. There's one tomorrow on morning ritual, which could help quite a few of you. And then if you've got any kind of topics or anything you want to know, or anything you want me to do a video on, just a 2 or 3 minute video, let me know. And then I'll do a few this week as well while I've got some free time. All right. Cool. Well, we'll leave it there then, so I can drive back. But any kind of, like I said, any more questions, type them below, and I'll do another one later this week. Or any topics you want me to do a specific video on, type them below again, and I'll do a 2 or 3 minute video each day this week. All right, cool. Yep. What I'll do a video on as well this week then, Dan, I'll do a video on my warm-ups and muscle activation that I do, and then what I'll do is I'll post it I won't post it for everyone. I'll just post it in this group just so that you can see and for what you could do for muscle activation, what you could do for warm-ups, and then you can apply it for your own training as well. All right? Cool. Well, like I said, type below anything you want to know, and then I'll get them done for this week. All right? But get everything prepared for this week, guys, and then let's get some more good results. All right? Thank you.